Jonathan, you started a restaurant,
Yep.
a food company.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a chef?
No. I consider myself a business person. Yeah.
Okay, but you can
I can cook. Yeah,
You
I can cook,
right?
yeah.
So give me like an early chicken cone story, because my understanding of the origin story is you didn't outsource cooking to anybody else in the beginning.
No.
This was you out of your house
Yeah.
and then out of a commissary
Yeah.
at some point. What was like the most memorable cooking story you can think of as you were figuring it out?
I think Shannon my wife has cut probably over 10 tons of chicken inside of our
Wow.
kitchen. So so we started there.
I don't even know if that's a lot, by the way, but it just, you could have said like half a ton,
Right.
and I would have gone, wow.
So one time we were working at this village at the Christmas Village in New York City, in Bryant Park,
I've been there.
and we were running out of chicken. And it was me and my business partner who I started it with, and a kid from Norway who couldn't speak very much English. In fact, we didn't know he couldn't speak English because he had a really good accent and he knew like some colloquial phrases and things. So I thought that he was good at English. So we put him on the cash register at the beginning. And I remember him telling people when they would hand him money, he would say, "And what is the value of this? And what is the value of this?" Every
That's
time.
adorable.
Yeah,
I
and
love
he had
it.
no idea. So it was the three of us inside this tiny little thing, and we were running out of chicken. And Josh looks at me and he's like, "Dude, somebody's got to cut us up some chicken, like prep some chicken." And so I'm calling around anybody I can think of. Nobody can help us out. There's nothing I can do. So I end up having to drive, because we had a ghost kitchen in Harlem. I ended up driving all the way to Harlem, and I get into the ghost kitchen there. I pull out our chicken and I'm looking for a spot to cut up the chicken, and every table is taken inside this because it was a shared kitchen. And somebody who had won Shark Tank, and they were for some kind of weird popcorn, they were there that day, and they had every table reserved, and we're going crazy. And I was like, I have no idea. What do I do? What do I do? So I took all of this thawed out chicken, a bunch of buttermilk, flour, panko, not to give away too many of our secrets.
There you go.
And I took all of this stuff and I stuck it in the back of my 1994 Honda Pilot. And now I'm in Harlem. What am I going to do? So I drove around till there was this mall that's like 4 stories and has some parking spaces, one of the few places you can park in there. So I get into this one of the parking spaces, I pop the back of the truck, and I just start mixing up my chicken, getting it all prepared in the back.
In the back of the truck?
And I only had one nice shirt,
Oh,
I took it off so I didn't get my shirt dirty. So I'm shirtless.
So you're topless.
Topless in November.
Preparing chicken.
In November in New York City, getting all this chicken, looking around, making sure nobody sees me and they're going to rat me out to the health department or something like this. And I get it all prepared, get it all put together, get back, and we serve chicken, and not a hair to be found in the chicken.
Well, that'll be the last time I eat at the Christmas Village in Bryant Park.
Yeah, no kidding, because I'm sure I wasn't the only one. But if only there should have been, I kept saying, there's got to be a place that I could just call up and be like, "Hey, could you get this chicken prepared for me?" Or, "Hey, you got an extra cook to spare?" I know they're probably just some way of finding somebody for help in that moment, but there was none, and it was me.
Yeah.
And I had to drive 45. It's only 1.8 miles, but it took me 45 minutes to get there.
Man.
Then bread the chicken and then get back, and we had run out of chicken. We had this super long line, and so
it's the life of the entrepreneur. You got to figure it out.
You got to figure it out.
You get confronted with a problem. You have to solve it, even if that means you got to go topless.
Take your shirt off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you have to pop the shirt off.
Pop the shirt off in the parking lot to get your chicken cooked. That is a crazy story.
It is.
But you figured it out.
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of restaurateurs that are struggling right now with a number of different factors and variables, but cooks.
None greater than labor. Yeah.
Labor is, right now that is the thing in the restaurant industry. I hear it all the time. I'm sure in your industry, it's just every day. How's Chicken Cone doing with the labor market, by the way, right now?
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So we've got a listener that has called in with an idea.
Yeah.
Around this notion of cooks the labor shortage. So, do you want to set us up on this?
Yeah, I'm just gonna hit play and let it go, and then we can discuss a little bit. But yeah, it's about exactly that. It's about the labor shortage inside the cooking industry and a creative way she is thinking to solve it.
Great.
Hi, Brad and Jonathan. I love your podcast. Listening in the restaurant business for approximately 10 years has taken its toll on me and my husband. We have tried Indeed, ZipRecruiter, social media, Craigslist, and it's been a fail since pandemic. How about substitute cooks like temp agency back in the day or modern twist on Uber and Instacart? A pool of cooks who are eager to help, be available, experience to flip burgers and fry French fries. Cook quick and easy money on their terms. In return, it lightens the load on us and the staff, and hopefully the customers will continue to appreciate and enjoy a good quality meal when a temp cook steps in on the fly. How about InstaCook?
Okay, so that was our listener Wendy calling in. Thank you, Wendy, for being a listener. Thank you for submitting this idea. And we're going to take it through the idea exploder. So the first category we have is gut reaction. So, I mean, you're the restaurateur. What's your gut reaction?
I feel your pain. that was my first thing listening to it. She's like,
commiseration.
I've been in the restaurant industry for 10 years, and my husband and I was like, are exhausted, are beat up, like all those different kinds of things. Yeah, I know that there's something out there called Dishwasher Hero because they email me and call me all the time, and they have like a whole pool of dishwashers that they'll send to your restaurant to step in. But I haven't heard of like a fryer or a grill master or a cook or like anything like that.
Why do you think that is? Is it that the skill sets are just completely different? There's not as many qualified chefs as there are qualified dishwashers. Like, why do you think that is?
I think there's several different things. Like one, I don't think you're going to get a chef this way necessarily, but like a line cook you could probably get.
Okay.
But I think it's because usually when they're out of work, they go to a temp agency. A temp agency gets them somewhere, and then that place doesn't want to lose them, so they continue. So usually it's not so much that they're just floating around jobless; it's that it's hard to find them. But I did hear some things in what she was saying that I think could be an interesting way to make this work, almost like shared cooks in a way for different restaurants.
So talk about that.
I will in a minute. But anyway, my gut reaction is I feel your pain. It's a huge problem. There has to be a simple solution, and I think if the right kind of pay were available, it could work. How about you? Did you have gut reaction listening to it?
My gut reaction is not going to be as valuable as yours because this is outside of my, you've got the industry experience, but it seems to be something that should be out there. Like, even as you talk about, cooks are working with temp agencies to get into permanent work. Mm-hmm. I got to imagine that in between time can be long. Mm-hmm. And where's this kind of gig economy version for them? Where are the opportunities for them in between? Is there even one thought I have is there even a play where this just becomes something you can do in perpetuity?
I totally think so. I think you could become certified, like a certified fryer, and you just know how to work the fryers. And because like larger restaurants, not so much fast food, but more on the restaurant side. Usually on a line, there's the grill cooks, and then there's the fry guys, and the fry guys, do the frying and presentation, and that's the same. 99% exactly the same every restaurant you're ever in, unless you're like maybe if you're doing fried ice cream or something like that. But other than that, like it is the same everywhere. Go ahead.
If you were a cook, would you want to do this in perpetuity? Would you enjoy the different locations for 2 days here, 3 days here? Like, would that be part of the appeal?
Yeah, I think so. Being able to get on my app each day and look up and say, oh, this one's needs somebody for the 2 to 4 shift today, and it's half a mile from my house and I could ride my bike. I would never ride a bike, but I
Yeah.
could ride my bike there. Boom, I'm taking that one. You know, like being able to look online, build my schedule my way, exactly my way, because I'm just looking and accepting the jobs that are available on the days that are available, and being able to try out a bunch of different restaurants and work with different kinds of people. Yeah, I think for sure it would be a valuable thing for a cook, rather than day in, day out going into the same
I
place.
think some people are wired
Yeah.
are wired to do something different every day.
Yeah.
And there could be an appeal to this. Like we've seen that, we've heard the stories of people that work Uber full time.
Yeah.
Some people, a lot of people, most people do it part time,
Right.
to kind of fill in the gaps. But if you've hacked the system, in your own way, you figure out how to work the system, how to do it at peak hours and things like that. You can, some people can make a full-time living doing Uber. I'm wondering if a chef could do this full-time.
Yeah, I think one of the beautiful
Or cook.
I think for sure they could do it full time. But I think one of the beautiful things about the gig economy is its schedule on demand. Like I get complete control over my schedule. I turn on my notifications when I want to be able to take a job, and I turn them off when I don't want to anymore. And so as a cook, I would have a lot more flexibility and ability, because inside of a restaurant industry, like servers have a very easy time of switching up shifts, like because there's such a large pool of them, and they're always throwing out, hey, anybody want to pick up my shift? And then they're trading and flipping. But cooks don't really have that option, because typically you're the cook on these days at this time. But in a situation like this, you would have the freedom to be able to pick and choose your hours. It could be somebody that has a full-time job, but is also able to pick up maybe one night a week, 2 nights a week as a fry cook at Applebee's, and could jump in and do that. And so I think that there's a lot of advantages to this.
Great. So gut reaction seems to be positive.
Mm-hmm.
Want to go on to yeah buts?
Sure.
So yeah buts. I'll start with one.
Okay.
And you might even know the answer to this, but my yeah but is, you mentioned dishwashers. A dishwasher can step into any restaurant at any time, and it's going to be, I would imagine, not a huge learning curve, right? But cooking at a restaurant, I mean, isn't there the training, wouldn't that take a while for them to get acclimated to a new system of food ecosystem in that restaurant? Could you speak to that? Would you know the answer to that?
That's a very legitimate and accurate yeah, but that's why I've been sticking with talking about the fryer people.
Okay.
Because typically that's not, maybe there's a little bit to plate presentation on their side, but like a fryer, you're sticking food in a fry basket, sticking it in hot oil, pushing the corresponding button. It's going, lifting, like there's not a ton.
Could Chicken Cone use this?
A chicken cone's one of the easiest concepts out there. Like I designed it for a 12-year-old girl to learn.
Wait, so you're saying
yes, I designed it for a 12-year-old girl, my daughter, to learn in 30 minutes without her and me getting into a fight.
Great.
And so it's such a simple concept. So yeah, anyone could walk in off the street and do anything in the back of the house for a chicken cone, except maybe roll a waffle cone. But
I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't.
But
there's no way I could do that.
But even on the grilling side of things, I mean, there's some things that a person could do. Like they could run the grill. Like they could, if you're an experienced grillman, you can run the grill. You would not be able to. It's called Expo in the back there. You wouldn't be able to like set up the plates exactly right. That's where it takes a little more. But if you've got somebody calling out to you, I need this steak on the grill, I need this burger, I need a chicken. You could, as a experienced grillman, you could step into any restaurant and run a grill.
Okay, so it's possible. So
grill and fryer would be the two areas. And I think fast food, pretty much, anybody could do that.
Okay. So what are your yeah buts?
My yeah buts are what happens when I need somebody and I don't get somebody. But I mean, they're already dealing with that most likely,
Correct.
But that would be a frustrating, or they get somebody that accepts it and they don't show up. Like those are all frustrating things.
Frustrating experiences, yeah. But at the same time, I mean, if they're not available, you're still in the same boat. So it's not a negative; it's just a neutral. It's a neutral.
Yeah, it's
issue.
But like, you're not paying taxes, insurance, all those kinds of things, because I'm sure it's a W-9 thing that you're just paying into. So it's not increasing your labor in that way. Like I feel like it would be cheap. Even if you're paying them $20 an hour, it's still going to be cheaper than if you're paying somebody 15.
You're saying that's a benefit. That's going to be, that's the That's the
So I know that we were going through buts, but I just keep coming back to like, there's a lot of benefits to it. I mean, there are some negative. What happens if the guy's terrible? But it's all of those what ifs that could be anywhere. These aren't like solely because of this idea. This is a problem I see. It's just problems inherent to restaurant business. That would still be there.
Like, how would you vet the cook in a situation?
I think it'd be
like
a star rating kind of thing, just like with Uber. Like they leave and you get a 5-star rating if you did a good job, and then so when you accept my job, I could see, wait, this guy's 2 stars. No, I don't want this guy.
Yeah, so that would work. I think that would work well.
Or only allowing people that are 4-star or above to apply or something like that.
Okay, but if you're really desperate, maybe you'll take 2 stars.
Oh yeah, as it gets
Have
closer.
You ever been in that spot? Have you ever been in that spot? Like, okay, it's Jonathan topless in a parking garage, cutting chicken, or pressing this button, and you get a 1-star chicken cutter.
I'm pressing the button. I mean, I just told you I had a guy who didn't even speak English running the cash register.
What was he saying? What is the value?
What is the value
of this?
And I remember one time this lady was in line, and he was like, "And what is your name?" Yeah. And it was always kind of a little creepy the way he would say it, because he didn't know the right phrasing, Yeah. And what is your name? Yeah. And she said, Abigail. And he goes, Happy Gal. That's strange. And then we would get these tickets back with people's names on them, and they could be anything from Happy Gal to blur.
Abigail was Happy Gal?
Yeah.
Oh,
Happy
that's
Gal.
Great.
Yeah. So yes, if I took a guy that couldn't speak English to run the cash register, I would definitely take a 1-star cook to cut up some chicken.
What other buts you got?
That's it.
Okay.
I mean, it's just all stuff that's inherent to the restaurant business.
Okay, but you said you had, so let's go on. Maybe this gets into the business model piece, but you mentioned earlier you had some ideas on how to kind of take this and shape it a little bit. How do you make this the best idea possible?
Yeah, I think if you're very good at, as the restaurateur, of knowing the exact hours you are there, you need somebody there. Like, you could save a lot of money on labor by being able to say, I don't need this guy for the whole day. I need him from the hours of 4 to 5:30, 5:30 to 7. I need somebody to come in and do this specific. And you could become very specific. So then when you have a full-time employee, it's really tough to keep that employee if you're only giving them 2 or 3 hours a day. If you have this gig economy and you're only offering 2 to 3 hours, that might be exactly what somebody needs. He gets off work as a police officer and he just needs to make another $50 a day. And so he goes in and he, like all of those kinds of things. I think that is one that is a benefit to both sides, to the cook side and also to the restaurateur side. I think being able to almost like sharing a cook with another restaurant would be really cool. Like inside of there's not a ton of them, but there's food courts. Like we have one Sistrunk food court, like that kind of thing. Like you could have a floating cook that was able to jump around in there at different times. Maybe a prep cook that shows up and preps at this place early in the morning and then goes to this other one a little bit later. Like I think that there's creative ways of keeping people full-time employed, but restaurants only paying less than part-time wages for it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. We've talked about gut reactions. We've talked about buts. You want to talk about names now?
Yeah.
Want to do names? Okay. So Wendy's name was
Instacook.
Instacook. Okay. Instacook's not bad. You know, I think though, when I think Instacook, my mind immediately goes Crockpot.
Yeah.
Right. I go Crockpot.
Yeah.
What other names ideas do we have?
I thought of like 86th, even though it's kind of the opposite of what's happening, but like it's still like
because 86 means take it off the menu, or is that what it means?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're out of.
We're out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grill skill.
Okay. Yeah. So mine was I think Cook the Book would work.
Yeah.
Or like adding
or the cookbook.
Cookbook. Oh, the cookbook. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, the cookbook.
Yeah.
That's it. The cookbook.
I heard you had mentioned one time to me, Chef Ref.
Chef Ref. Yeah, Chef Ref.
That's not bad.
Because the app is the ref.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a problem, and the ref has to sort it out. But I think cookbook is
in kitchens a lot of times when you need something, like when a server drops, say, he or she is taking out the food and the fries slip off. And then she comes back out and she's like, I need a side of fries on the fly, or I need a medium rare steak on the fly because something happened. So I was thinking on the fly.
On the fly. Wendy even said on the fly in
Yeah.
her summary.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're like on the fly. But I would have to go with you that the best name I think is the cookbook. Because that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
It's a cookbook.
Yeah.
You're just flipping through. I'll take that one. Yeah.
It's a cookbook of cooks. Yeah, it's the perfect name. We
Yeah.
got to go with that one. So Wendy, we got a good name, and that is a good name.
Yes,
like
it is a
that
good
name you could build a brand very quickly
Around
the cookbook. You can
yeah.
build an app very quickly around that brand. So financial model. How does this service make money? Let's talk about how much it costs. This sounds like it's an app.
Yeah,
right?
I would think it would. I think it would be very much like any of the gig economy things.
It's an Uber-based thing.
Uber, yeah, that kind of.
So I need a cook. I open up this app. I put in what I need, the time frame that I need it, and I press a button. And then it starts thinking.
I think it kicks it out. And so people are able to see that. Just like you would do if I wanted to ride somewhere on Lyft, I put in my destination and it sends it out to all these different people that have their little things turned on, and then somebody picks it up. I do think, I don't know, is it a set amount? Like, just like how, which Uber and Lyft both do, like they'll do surge pricing. So if I need this cook between 5 and 7 tonight, if I need him between 6 and 8, and I need a grill cook, that's going to be a little more expensive than if I needed him from noon to 2, or if I needed a fry cook, because this is the black car.
Yeah, I know.
XL.
I know. You know what I like? Free market. I think you name your price that you're starting, your price that you would pay, and I can look at it and go, I do it, but I do it for $23 an hour.
So I agree with you.
And then I think if I do that, I'm risking not getting it because you might do it for the $20 an hour.
Yeah.
But I like that. I think that there's a little bit of a game to it.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of I might get it, I might not get it. Do I want to up my rate in this moment, or do I want to take the safe bet? I think that's fun.
I think we talk about that a lot. We often side on the free market, like let the market decide.
Yeah.
None of these apps do that.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like
Uber,
eBay does.
Yeah.
But outside of eBay, nobody really lets the market decide. It's all on, this is the price, this is the cost. Airbnb, Turo, all these places, they have their set cost, and that's what you pay.
And do you think there's a brilliance behind that we're not accounting for?
Probably.
Yeah. But the problem is, like, in a restaurant industry, the restaurants are all different.
Yeah.
Like, Chicken Cone is going to pay X, and
Ruth's Chris
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is going to pay X times 3.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, I don't think there's any way around that. You can't. There's no way around that. And they're gonna ask for different things too.
Yeah.
You know, from somebody.
I would ask if Ruth's Chris Steakhouse reached out to me. I would be like, so is that a possessive Ruth's and a possessive Chris? And like, what was there a Chris's Steakhouse and Ruth bought this one, and then she just grew a whole bunch of them and got a whole bunch more?
Because it's Ruth apostrophe S.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
It's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
So it's okay. So it was a Chris Steakhouse, and then Ruth bought it.
Yeah, and then she opened a bunch of them, and she was like, "You guys thought you liked Chris's Steakhouse, but you really like Ruth's Chris's Steakhouse, and I'm just going to open a ton of them."
Yeah,
and we'll never rebrand.
No, that's a good riff. That's a good riff.
You know, when in Colorado, where I used to live, I lived right by this burrito factory, and it was called Betty's Burrito. But no, it was called Burritos Betty, and the burrito was possessive, so that Betty belonged to the burrito.
What are people like? what were they thinking?
I don't know. That's Burritos Betty. Don't mess with that Betty, because she's that burritos.
No, it's
right
Betty's
there.
Burrito.
I know, but it wasn't.
I
It was
know.
Burritos Betty.
I don't.
Yeah.
I know. I think if there's anybody who knows the answer to
I know the
Jonathan's
answer to that.
of Ruth, do you know the answer?
No,
to
I don't know
Ruth's?
that Ruth's Chris's Steakhouse.
I want to
do
know the
Burritos Betty.
derivation of Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Yeah, me too.
So if anybody knows, please post a comment, send us an email. We would love to know why in the world it's called that. But you said you did know why Betty's
Burritos Betty.
Burritos Betty was called that one?
Yeah, it was an accident. So there was a whole article about
That's
it.
the right
and then it
answer.
just-
No, that's
and
the
then it
right
just
answer.
Stuck. Like,
That's the only answer that's
Yeah.
acceptable.
they ordered a bunch of stuff,
That's it.
and it came
That's it.
to them in
That's
Burritos
it.
Betty, and
That's
she's
it.
like,
They
oh,
had too
cool.
much tequila that night
Yeah.
and before the branding session, and then they came out of it just making a huge mistake.
Yeah.
So, so what are we talking about? We're talking about financial model.
Yeah, for the
Okay.
cookbook.
So, I think it's got to be
Free
free
enterprise?
market. I think so.
Yeah.
I can't think of another way to do it. But, and then this company, the cookbook, I was just going to get a percentage, get a cut,
Yeah.
get a fee from each transaction. How does those work? Do you think that's a set fee or is it a percentage?
I think percentage.
It's a percentage of what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the way it should be, because if it's if you're booking somebody for, I'm assuming you could book somebody for a long time, right? For a week,
Yeah.
So there could be some big ticket purchases on this, which means it could be a very lucrative. When you start thinking about it that way, could be a lot more lucrative per transaction
Right.
than an Uber.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're booking someone for a whole week and you're paying them $30 an hour,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the
man.
cookbook is getting
This-
a percentage on that, that's a good take.
This would fit in perfectly too for any kind of like when you're doing an offsite event, being able to bring in people for an offsite event,
yeah.
like that would be really easy. For another idea that we're going to talk
Office
about,
party, for like an office party.
yeah,
Yeah.
an idea that we're going to be talking about here in the near future called Curated. It would be perfect for that as well. So like, yeah, I think this is a good. The cookbook's a good idea.
Cookbook. Wendy, way to go, Wendy, on the
Way to
good
go,
idea.
Wendy.
Yeah. So, do we need to rate this now?
Yeah.
Are we there? Okay. So, do you have a scale? I haven't thought about a scale.
I mean, we could say between like the name Ruth's Chris Steakhouse
Yeah. Yeah.
and McDonald's.
Oh yeah. Okay. I think.
Or
that-
Wendy's. Let's
or
put it between
Wendy's.
Ruth's
Yes!
Chris Steakhouse and Wendy's.
Oh, I think this idea is a Wendy's.
Yeah.
I got to give Wendy credit on this one. I think this is a very good idea. This is nowhere near a Ruth 'S Chris Steakhouse.
No, I don't think so either.
Absolutely not. How about you?
I would rate it as probably Kava.
Kava. What's Kava?
See, that's why. I think it's new. It's fresh. It would take a
Yeah.
little bit of time for people to get used to and accustomed to using it. This Kava is basically a Mediterranean Chipotle,
Okay.
but it's an easy name, simple. You're going to remember that name, Kava.
Yeah.
It's super easy. It could be,
But it hasn't scaled yet, like this idea.
yeah,
Right.
right.
This idea
and
could
then
be
when it does, yeah, it's Kava.
great. Awesome. Well, Wendy, thank you very much for submitting an idea. And
Absolutely.
if listeners want to do that, they can go to idealistpodcast.com, and there's a little button there you can click that will record a voice message right on the website. We'll get it, and we very well may play it on this episode like we did for Wendy. So
Awesome.
see you next time.